Well, over the past little while, we've talked about all aspects of the MS Bike Tour, from the clothing, to the cycles, to the fundraising, to the MS Society itself. We haven't had the chance to talk to somebody who suffers with MS on a daily basis. Julie happens to be one of those people. So Julie, if you can just give us some indication of what you go through.
You have those moments that, gosh, is this what my new reality is going to be? And am I going to not be able to brush my teeth and start not be able to comb my hair, and all those things that, you do that you take for granted, go for those bike rides and those long walks. And so because of that kind of unpredictable nature, it's just you have that kind of anxiety sitting somewhere in you all the time. And so it becomes a very difficult disease to deal with. And so really, my family, I just have one son. And that might have happened with or without MS, but we've, as a family, have come together and we participate in the events. We volunteer in the events. My husband's part of the bike tour committee to put on the event, and I think it's our way of controlling something we can't control, right? And one of the best things that has happened for my son is he's tended the kids camp. That, I don't know if Tara talked about that. And it's interesting because you don't really know what kids are feeling and thinking, and they're in your environment, especially with an only child, right? So they're in the adult environment talking. And he came home one day, and when I was putting him to bed, he said, "Mom, I really don't want you to end up in a wheelchair." And I thought, where was that coming from? But as part of the camp, they talked about, what's happening and their feelings and emotions and stuff. And I thought, and he says to me, "Well, one of the other kids, their mom's in a wheelchair." And I thought, oh gosh, And so, it's been great for him to explore that, because I probably wouldn't have talked like that, right? Because I don't want him to think about that end point. But it is part of the disease. And, as we participate and connect with the society, you do meet people in wheelchairs, and that is part of this progressive nature. And so, we benefited from that, and all the information and support we get from the society, having other people to chat with about, the things that are happening to you, and the bike tour, meeting the volunteers, a lot of them have MS, a lot of the participants have MS, and you can see how they've conquered it and be inspired and want to continue to move forward.
Can they give you any indication of where your disease is going to go based on what you've had so far?
No, they can't really. And what I was in a presentation with a MS nurse, and she said that someone with just 2 lesions can have a very progressive form of the disease, and someone with multiple lesions can have a mild form. So yeah, they can't predict. I do take a disease-modifying therapy that I have found beneficial for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but it has worked for me. But my new reality after that meant giving myself a needle every day, which you have to keep it refrigerated. It becomes a part of your life and part of your family. And interestingly enough, my husband was afraid of needles, but I need him to give me shots 3 times a week, and so he had to suck it up and support me, and that's really really is for me all about support. Support from my family and friends, support from the society, and all of that support really gives us hope. Through the research that's happening and such, that there is going to be a cure. I think it was last year, or the year before, at the university, a young scientist, she's all of 25, doing her PhD, have found some molecule within the myelin that they hadn't seen before, some of the genetic things. And some of the MS Society research money funded her. And so I picked up my son after school that day, and I said, "You know what? Your fundraising and your participation, has maybe impacted that we're going to find this cure and find better treatments." So,
well, thanks, Julie, for spending some time with us today. And as Julie wrapped things up with the research that is going on at the U of A, gives us every indication that we're this much closer to finding a cure, and you can really help out by supporting and riding on the MS Bike Tour this year.